Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Bob Power, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you've joined us for our next live presentation from Gamelancer Media Corporation. Before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. If you're interested in scheduling a meeting with Gamelancer Media, please click on the Meetings tab found on the left navigation bar. You'll be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome John Dwyer, Chairman and CEO of Gamelancer Media Corporation, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol GAMGF and on the CSE under the symbol GMNG. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks everyone for taking the time to hear our story. As mentioned, Gamelancer Media Corporation, we're a media-first entertainment company. So we own the largest community of gamers on TikTok. And so why is that important? That's what we're going to delve into today. But all things equal, the world of social media is changing. The past 14 years has largely been defined by Facebook's hegemony in the media, in the social media space. We saw YouTube make a concerted challenge for the crown, and at the moment is the largest long-form video platform for viewers, especially in the Gen Z and demographic demo. And what we're seeing now is TikTok, in the form of short-form media, which we'll get into as we go through the presentation, is really coming for that crown. And statistics are showing that as of Q1 2024, TikTok will eclipse YouTube as the #1 video platform on social media. Gamelancer itself owns 27 channels. We have 33 million followers generating 1.8 billion monthly video views. We work with a variety of different clients from Samsung to Belkin, Royal Bank, Celsius, and ABC and ESPN+. We were the TikTok partners for the Stanley Cup Finals. We kicked off the NCAA Pac-12 season, and very shortly you're going to see our first NFL weekend coming up with ESPN, and we're incredibly excited to share that with everybody. So what makes us so different? Why is Gamelancer special? So we own a community across Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. As I mentioned earlier, 33 million people. 56% of our audience is in the United States. Over 75% of our audience is in the United States, Canada, the UK, and Australia. These are crucial areas to own an audience in because that's where brands are spending money. If you're getting impressions, you're generating video views and communities in certain parts of the world, you get rewarded with a higher CPM, which is the cost per 1,000 views of your viewers watching content. And video is where we get the highest CPM, or we're being paid the most for the content that we're populating onto our pages. And so owning these channels, especially on TikTok, is really the future of where media is heading and where you're going to be connecting with the Gen Z and millennial demographic. Like any other company, management is crucial. Gamelancer, like many other companies, takes a community to become special every day. I'm very fortunate to work alongside some incredibly bright folks. For context, we are two companies that came together. So we took Wonder Gaming public May 7th of 2021, and we were a customer of Gamelancer. I went to Razvan Romanescu and Darren Lopez, the two co-founders of Gamelancer, and I said, what you guys have built is special. How are you monetizing? Show me how you're selling media across all of your channels. And they had done an amazing job on Snapchat, and they were really starting to explore how to monetize their media inventory they were creating on TikTok. And we basically said, look, give us a contract, give us the ability to sell your media inventory in Q4 2021. And if we do a great job, I hope I can convince you to sell to us as well. We ended up nailing the Samsung campaign. We got Samsung Canada-wide for Q1 of this year for their Odyssey monitors. We did that with Fred VanVleet from the Toronto Raptors, and Samsung's monitor sales Canada-wide were up 41% year over year for Q1. That really was an amazing moment for our business, and it led to us acquiring Gamelancer. We dropped the Wonder Gaming title, and we are now one big happy family under the Gamelancer banner. And as you can see from our management team, some incredible folks, including myself, Mike Cotton, Max Demaray, and a big thank you to the Chrétien Demaray family who led our last two financings. We closed a $10 million financing at 20 cents with a half warrant at 30 in April of this year. And most recently, we launched a $15 million debt financing, also led by our business partner, Max Demaray, and the Chrétien Demaray family. So we're very fortunate for that. How do we access our community? So the goal in social media is to build a community, build a network of individuals that are watching all of your channels. So in Gamelancer, as we'll see as we go through the presentation, we have 14 channels on TikTok and 27 on aggregate across all three platforms of TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. Because we have such a large audience, when a brand like RBC or ESPN Plus comes to us and ESPN says, hey, we've got an NCAA game this weekend, it's Oklahoma versus Texas, we want you guys to go down, shoot content with current NFL players who are alma mater of Oklahoma and say Texas. We want it shot and we want to broadcast on your network, encouraging your audience to watch ESPN Plus and ABC to tune into NCAA Pac-12 football. So we capture all of that content, we broadcast it on our network. Because our network is so big, we're able to reach millions and millions of views on these campaigns organically without spending any media spend, which inherently creates a higher margin for us. What's really special about Gamelancer is we own the network, we own the channels, and therein we own the distribution, so we own the unit economics. This business, if you own any other names in media or gaming, do take a deeper look and take a look at what they own, because there's an affiliate network, which means you work with a large group of influencers and people that have a following, and you bring them to bear in your campaign, or alternatively, there's an owned and operated network, and that's what Gamelancer has. We don't pay a revenue share to TikTok. We don't pay a revenue share to anyone. These are sovereign-owned entities of the company, and we are creating content on a daily basis, upwards of 140 videos a day, and integrating ads throughout them in a very curated fashion. In many cases, you don't even know that you're watching an ad. So on campaigns where they're larger and we require a broader scope, TikTok does an incredible job of working with businesses like ours to help us geo-target. So for a customer like RBC, they don't want to have engagement with any of our audience in the US, Australia, or the UK. So we target all of the RBC content to be geolocated within Canada. And on top of that, we do paid ad spend for specific regions. So if we want to reach out to the youth and young demographic between the ages of 16 to 21 to talk about, for instance, perhaps getting their first credit card at 18 when they're going to college, we want to target those folks on TikTok who are watching our channels. So we do creative content with RBC, and we're going to shoot it into specific regions like Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, these major city centers across Canada, where we're going to see massive entrenchment with these communities, people that may not bank with RBC right now, but are about to make a decision, say, on where their first credit card is. So we're going to create content that talks about the benefits, for instance, of getting an RBC Avion card, or encourages people to watch an NFL game, or in the case of Samsung, encourages them to learn more and go out and buy some of the high-end electronics products that Samsung creates. So we have this kind of triumvirate of opportunities, the first being organic, which is our audience driving massive engagement. The second being targeting, where we can geolocate to a specific region thanks to our close relationship with TikTok. And the third being paid ad spend, which boosts in specific regions to make sure that we're accessing exactly the demographic that our individual customers are looking for. We achieve engagement through our own network, but the content that you're seeing populated on our channels is often accomplished through using influencers and professional athletes. So the unique thing about Gamelancer is we're not relying on any of these influencers to bring their audience. We have an audience. So we don't need to pay exorbitant fees to have, a big talent bring their YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Snapchat audience to bear in order for us to accomplish all of our goals in a campaign. So we're able to curate these really interesting experiences with more junior influencers, people that are trying to bring their career to another level. And that's something we're really proud of at Gamelancer. We're an amplification network for the creator community. So you're seeing a lot of companies out there right now that are getting long-term engagements with influencers and gamers and streamers, really trying to lock them up and own all of their unit economics. There's an increasingly exploitative theme happening right now in social media around how brands and influencers are being, in many cases, taken advantage of by agencies that represent the talent. And so what we're trying to do is kind of turn that around. We're giving the influencer community a platform to be successful, and we're paying them to be part of these activations. We have a great relationship with CAA, Creative Artist Agency. We're working on a number of things with VaynerMedia. We've worked with Rock Nation before. There's so many great opportunities for us to work with professional athletes and amazing organizations like the ones that I just mentioned that have just been an absolute delight to work with and help us continue to nail it for all of our individual clients. So as we'll see as we go through these coming slides, we have a number of different partners. So as I mentioned, ESPN Plus, Dentsu Gaming, Universal, Samsung, Belkin, the NHL, NCAA, and beyond. We have two different styles of engagements. We have our endemic partners. So those are ones that are more endemic to gaming, like G Fuel and like Celsius. These are beverage brands that are really important in clicking with that the Gen Z demographic of 12 to 26. And we also have a fairly significant millennial demographic that's on our channel. So we really do hit a sweet spot of anywhere between 12 and 35, and we can curate media, curate content to actually reach specific groups, but have it all living within the Gamelancer ecosystem. So that's one of the benefits that we bring to our clientele, is this opportunity to help them storytell, to help them create meaningful connections in the marketplace, drive consumerism, but do it in an authentic way. So our revenue projections going forward, we're moving into 2023. We're really excited to release our Q3 financials. You'll see that coming out soon. We think people are going to be very encouraged, and even more so encouraged by our Q4. But 2023 is when the rubber hits the road. All the clients that you see inside of this presentation today, these are recurring clients. The unique thing about this industry is if you look at the agencies that represent some of the largest brands that we work with, whether it be on the creative or distribution or other sides, historically, these companies spend a significant amount of time in their relationship with these companies. This is not a, hey, you're hired for a quarter or you're hired for a year. These are multi-year engagements. And we're seeing that phenomenon play itself out here at Gamelancer, where we're having some of the largest blue chip brands on the planet come to us to help them curate their messaging to the Gen Z and millennial demographic, not just on TikTok, but across all of their own social channels as well. We recently filmed Samsung Canada's largest digital campaign of the year, which is a 5-part series. So if you go on to Instagram, look up Samsung Canada, you'll see all of this content around their connectivity campaign, and that was all produced and curated by Gamelancer. So all of this content, it's not just about it living solely on our channels. Our partners are seeing us as storytellers, as people that are helping them reach this demo. And so it's not just this idea that Gamelancer has a whole bunch of followers and isn't that interesting. We are part of the intelligentsia of where this industry is going, on where to reach young people, and again, do it in an authentic way. It's an incredibly overused word in media, authentic, but nonetheless, it's very important. And it's really at the crux of how we think of our engagement. So as mentioned, TikTok is the new juggernaut. We're seeing all the statistics lend itself to the notion that in 2024, TikTok as a video media platform is going to eclipse YouTube. That's certainly something that we see. All of the statistics suggest that prognostication is true. And I just have to say, we work really closely with TikTok. The TikTok Canada group is unbelievable. They truly provide a platform for companies like us to grow, and they make things incredibly easy for us to facilitate great outcomes for our clients. So what's also important when understanding Gamelancer is understanding how engaged TikTok is with companies like ours that are building communities on their platform. And it's important to know, Gamelancer has the largest community of gamers on the planet on TikTok, but we also have one of the largest communities in general. And so when you think about our business, don't just think about a company that's reaching gamers. We're in the business of our demographic, right? So when any company under the sun wants to reach that 12 to 30, 12 to 35-year-old demographic, we're a trusted partner and resource for their distribution of content and to actually produce it. We have an amazing studio in Vancouver. We're shooting all the time in Toronto, and today, our team, our creative team is in San Francisco shooting our first NFL campaign with Nick Bosa from the San Francisco 49ers. So you're going to see that content coming out. We're really excited about it. So as the Gen Z go-to, it's not that TikTok, for instance, came along and there was some voodoo involved in why it became so popular. Demand in the marketplace has been building over the past 5 to 10 years, where we're seeing short-form media really come to the forefront of demand. And so you're seeing now Instagram basically replicating what TikTok does with its Reels platform, this focus of social media platforms to continue to really back the truck up for all things short form video. And TikTok really understood that. And they built an algorithm that allows, again, companies like ours or influencers, streamers, gamers that are on their platform to build communities and work with brands. So the mechanics and the architecture of how TikTok functions is really at the crux of what makes us so good, because we understood as Gamelancer, Razvan Romanescu and Darren Lopez, our founders, understood very early how to build community and how to create meaningful engagement. And again, that really is what's so important here. For those who don't have a TikTok account, you don't need to go and sign up. Just download the app and start scrolling. If you hit the little button on the bottom left-hand corner, that's the FYP, the For You page. It's going to be typically the top 3% of content that's trending regionally or globally on TikTok. And you can scroll through it. And I guarantee you're going to start to find that it's replacing TV. And that's really where this is going. People are watching less and less TV on aggregate, but in specifics, the demographic that we spend so much time with, that we know everything about, they don't watch linear broadcast television. So if you're any variety of brands that are trying to reach them, I'm relatively young. I'm 38. When I was a kid, I watched television. That's where you would find me. Facebook didn't come out until I was in university, but it's a totally different world and atmosphere around how to reach this demographic now, because it doesn't happen on TV. And so brands are starting to re-examine their media spend. You may have seen earlier this year, Geico, which spends $1 billion a year, USD, on an annualized basis on its advertising, put its entire advertising budget out to RFP because they realize they need to modernize. Everybody looks on television and can remember a Geico commercial, but their presence with the young folks isn't going to happen unless they're on social media platforms like TikTok, working with companies like Gamelancer. So as mentioned, we have 1.8 billion monthly video views that we generate across our 27 channels. We've got 33 million followers. It's really important to look at the properties that companies own on platforms like TikTok. So for instance, we own the handles @gaming, @gamer, @gamelancer, eGirl, and a variety of others. There is a finite amount insofar as there's only one @gaming handle. So if you go on to TikTok, and again, I encourage everybody, Google TikTok. Do whatever you have to do to start due diligence and go beyond the noise of what everybody's hearing about TikTok being banned, which frankly is not going to happen. What the future of this app is really based on is who owns marquee properties. So if you go on and if you Google TikTok, you're seeing that more and more young people, the Gen Z demographic, are actually using TikTok as a search engine. And so instead of going to Google, they're going on TikTok and looking up a recipe. They're looking up a specific video game. They're looking up sports highlights. This is where people are getting their news. And so anybody, whether you're in any country across the planet, if you go onto TikTok and enter the word gaming or gamer, you're coming to our channels, right? If you enter Minecraft, Call of Duty, Roblox, we have channels as well that address these games and their communities. And so we have this entrenchment that's not pigeonholed or focused on, for instance, one video game. We are in the culture of the Gen Z and a millennial demographic, and gaming is where you reach them. But really, I encourage everybody, don't think about gaming as some nerd in the basement playing video games. Gaming is both an engaged and a passive experience. It's people playing on their consoles, but also on their iPads and on their phones, their Android, whatever it may be. And gaming is broad in scope. It's not just with a controller in your hand. It can be playing Candy Crush. It can be playing Wordle or Words with Friends. All of this really does constitute constitute the gaming community. And so we have this broad net that we're able to cast to capture this wide demographic. And it's not just all males, which is very important as well. We're seeing engagement of up to 42% of our audience being female. And on some of our channels, we're over 60%. So we have a really nice mixture from a gender demographic and also from an ethnicity perspective. We are reaching folks in the 4 key areas, as I mentioned, being the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia. But the demography of the individuals that are part of our community is really important, because the mosaic of people that are on following your channels is an important element that the brands that spend money with you want to understand. And for us, we have to have finite data. We have to be able to say, we have X amount of people in this specific region. Here's the gender breakdown, age, ethnicity, and really be able to provide comprehensive data analytics as to who our community is. So this just gives you a quick look. This is from a snapshot of our TikTok network on the 29th of October. So you can see here we have 28.3 million followers on TikTok across these 14 channels. So when video games like Rocket League, Roblox, PUBG, Minecraft, and beyond, they have new issuances of new games, they become popular, they have viral content for any reason, those are all being featured on our channels. So we have this opportunity not only to go on the micro, digging into each individual game, but from a macro perspective, we have amplification channels as well. And that is the channels I mentioned earlier at Gamer, at Gaming, Gamelancer, and eGirl. And so these are our larger channels. You can see at Gaming is now at 9.8 million followers. You want to look across the landscape of gaming, esports, and media companies. There's really no one that close to us that in terms of the size and scope of the network. There are people that have individual channels that are quite large, but in terms of the aggregate of a network, what we've built here is incredibly impressive, and our clients agree. So we want to entertain people around the world through creative and innovative storytelling. At the end of the day, brands are looking for partners to provide them storytelling and distribution. I've worked in a few different industries, from agriculture to manufacturing, and I've been in the media and entertainment industry now for a little over 4.5 years. And the one thing that I've found in every company that I've run or been a part of is externalities is what kills. You have to be able to control all of the inputs into the product that you're supplying for your clients. And so in our business, you see typically creative entities, which is a creative agency that's going to create the content that you may see populated on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Snap, YouTube, Twitch, and beyond. And then you see folks that are focused on distribution, so they own a network. Now, in those experiences, you have a lot of externalities, things that you can't control. So when a client comes to a company that provides simply the distribution, they have to work hand in hand with the creative. And so you have these two polar opposites where distribution is not naturally in the business of creative. But what we've done at Gamelancer is put them all under one roof. So when a client comes to us, they're giving us an idea of where they want to go, and we're coming back to them with vision boards, storyboards, and it's all about helping them tell their story, and then we go into distribution. So that's the really important criteria about who we are and what we do, is that we're working with the client to help them understand how to live on the TikTok ecosystem. You can't just start a page tomorrow morning and put up a video. It's very scary for a lot of big brands, because if you're a multinational blue chip company and you start a TikTok channel, everybody can watch it, from the CEO on down through the ranks. And so you want to make sure that the content that you're populating onto these channels is reflective of the brand, reflective of where the brand is going, and thoughtful in its approach and how it's speaking to the Gen Z community. This is not a passive viewing experience where you're watching linear broadcast television and you're clicking through the channels. These are people who are watching your content, your brand's content, with the ability to like, comment, share, and bookmark. So they'll be in the comment section on the videos that you're posting, hopefully saying positive things, but in the event that they find it inauthentic to their community, they're obviously not going to have nice things to say. And so we can see engagement in real time, and that's a really important criteria, because at the end of the day, the world of media spend has to be intrinsically linked to the ROI on that media spend. And so we are in the business of demonstrating how meaningful that ROI is, and that's why our clients continue to come back to us. So as mentioned earlier, we do a lot of curated content. In Q1 of this year, we acquired Joybox Studios. So Joybox is a content curation studio in Vancouver, and they shoot all of our content. Please go on to TikTok, look up Joybox. and you can see all of their content populated there. It's a very exciting opportunity for us. It's run by Kamar Burke and Sam Park. Kamar and Sam are just unbelievable, and they really are the creative nucleus of our company. And so when we're running campaigns, we're able to do what's called user-generated content, which uses the influencers and the folks that I showed you earlier in the slide. And then the secondary opportunity is to do curated content, where we're having actual influencers and folks coming out and participating in videos and in content with us. So here's an example of one of our case studies. So this was our first engagement with ESPN. It was earlier this year for the Stanley Cup Finals. So working with Creative Artist Agency, we had 3 players, the Hughes brothers and Trevor Zegras. Trevor Zegras is on the cover of NHL, EA Sports' NHL this year. Plays for the Mighty Ducks, and actually the Ducks, they dropped the Mighty, and actually scored a pretty incredible goal on Wednesday night. We're big fans of Trevor. Through this campaign, we work on what are called KPIs, which are key performance indicators. And this is when you say we're going to achieve a certain amount of clicks, which is views, click-throughs, which is people clicking the link, or in some case downloads or moved products. So for ESPN, we were to generate 7.5 million views. We did 8.6 million, 84,000 likes. And of course, this led to our NCAA business as well as our NFL business, which you'll see coming out in the next 2 weeks, which is really exciting. RBC has been a fantastic brand to work with. This is a Joybox campaign. So this is going to be coming out, I believe, later this month. We did a content campaign all about financial literacy with people from the BIPOC community here in Canada. So talking about issues that are particular to those communities as it relates to financial literacy. This is a fantastic campaign. We're really excited for it to come out. Similarly with Belkin, we've been a partner for Belkin for a good portion of this year. I believe we're moving on to our 3rd campaign right now. This was about moving units. And so in this case, our first engagement was about moving 3,500 of their earbuds. And I think it goes without saying that in the first 2 quarters of this year, we surpassed all of their numbers. So that was a highly, highly successful campaign. And last, before I jump to questions here, is our man, Fred VanVleet, the captain of the Toronto Raptors. So we've now done 2 campaigns this year with Fred. Our first was around the Samsung Odyssey monitor, which I mentioned. And our most recent one was about connectivity using all of the Samsung devices like their smart fridges and all of their in-home appliances and cell phones and how they all connect. We work with Fred as well as Faisal Khamisa from Sportsnet, who was just a fantastic part of this campaign. And we actually just booked our first Samsung US campaign, which is going to be coming out this quarter too. So our business with Samsung is thriving North America wide. We can't wait to get some European business from them in 2023 as well. So with all of that said, for the sake of time, we only have 3 minutes left. So I'm just going to jump into some questions. So Meta emphasized their Reels app as a high priority growth area. Is there a risk to TikTok and by extension to Gamelancer if Meta takes short form video market share away from TikTok? I mean, look, I wish Meta the best in that endeavor. I think the interface and the experience of being on Instagram and YouTube are 2 very different things. You're also reaching a vastly different demographic, especially folks in their teens. They tend to have a higher affinity for TikTok than they do Instagram, Instagram being more popular with the 20 and 30 somethings. It definitely was a move that was meant to replicate the success of what's happening in short form video on TikTok. Look, we're on Instagram. We're big fans of the platform. But I think as it relates to short form video and short form media in general, TikTok is in first place by a country mile. So I see one here from Jason Altman. It says, what are your revenue streams? Are you 100% ad revenue driven? So we generate revenue through 3 silos. Our first is with Snapchat through what's called Snap Discovery. This is where we're populating content into edited reels that live on the Snap Discovery platform. And that's a 50-50 revenue share with Snapchat. We've been doing that now for a little over a year. And you'll see in our Q3 and Q4 numbers, it's growing very healthy. And of course, we get the benefit of being paid in USD. USD. Our secondary items are also through media, but this is the sale of what we call direct media. So we have two forms of sales focus in our business. And I mentioned this earlier. It's the endemic categories. So we have what are called always on clients. These are people that are spending with us on a monthly basis with user generated content that we're curating, and it's easily forecastable revenue which we like. And it's in the broad scheme of things negligible. For these brands to be dropping 100 grand USD a month with us, it's just part of their larger strategy of accessing TikTok. But we've seen those budgets grow from 25 grand to 50 grand to now 100 grand a month. And we're seeing that happen with a number of our different endemic clients. And that's because when you go on TikTok, if you want to reach gamers, we are where you find them. And secondarily is the non-endemic, which is the large brands, the RBCs, the Belkins, and ESPNs of the world, and a number of others that we'll be announcing soon. So to answer your question, it is all media driven, but it is through a variety of different silos, and we tend to diagnose our partners differently based on which industry they're in. And can you share any of your plans on how to capitalize ads on streaming platforms? I mean, we've got 5 seconds left here, and I'm probably going to need a lot more to answer that question. But all things equal, for now, TikTok, Instagram, and Snap is our focus. You can continue to see it. And just before I go, I just want to mention, you'll see our most recent press release. Gamelancer is growing by more than 1 million new followers a month and growing. And so please go on to TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, look up Gamelancer on all of our channels. And john.dewire@gamelancer.com is my email. Shoot me a note. Love telling our story. And I really appreciate